All right. It was 1 year ago this past week that my mother passed away due to her dementia that she battled for years and years. Even though it was a year ago that she actually died, she had been gone from us for much longer time than that. I hope your mom was or is as wonderful as mine was. I'm sure she was in each of your situations, probably differently than mine, but just wonderful in their own ways. My mom was a great encourager. She was a great listener. She was fun to be around, and she had this great uproarious laugh that would bust out every once in a while. Our family has been looking through our video archives in the hopes of having a video with that laughter, and we haven't found it yet, but we're hoping to do that. Indeed, Mom was a love, and so as I've said many times, I think in this audience, when I think of her today or when something, I just say aloud, thanks, Mom, and that seems to do well. I was here at the church when I got the word. As a pastor, I'm around death all the time. So that part is not unusual for me, but it, of course, very different is usually not a member of my immediate family and a loved one like that. I was pensive for a few moments. I was grateful for her life, for all the ways she loved me. There's all kinds of different emotions were stirring up within me. I didn't much really want to see anybody or talk to anybody just in those first few minutes, and so I went in there in the parlor and just kind of hid. I think it was a Wednesday, or no one would bother me. And I sat there for a while, and then the quiet of my soul, eventually I started singing a song. And it was a James Taylor song of all things, You've Got a Friend. It's not like that was my mom's favorite song. It's not like she's any big James Taylor fan any more than she was a fan of anyone else, but that was the song that came to me as I thought about my life, thought about her, I thought about my life going forward without her here with me. That was the song that came to my mind and my heart. So no doubt, Mom was a friend, but yet so much more than that, right? 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to be in Chicago for a conference. I've learned through the years that when going someplace, it's good to look ahead to see if there might be something else going on in the big city that I could enjoy while I was there. So I was thinking maybe I could catch the Chicago Cubs playing at Wrigley Field. Never done that before. No, not that, not this, not there. But sure enough, lo and behold, as it turned out, Billy Joel was going to be in concert at Wrigley Field. So I still got to go to the Wrigley Field, just didn't see the Cubs. But, found out I got 2 tickets, and I took my piano-playing son with me, and we enjoyed an amazing concert. So towards the end of the concert, Billy Joel played his greatest song, Piano Man, and in that moment, I experienced a moment of worship, if you will. I'm a pastor, that's what I'm calling. I'm calling a moment of worship as me and 50,000 of my newest friends all sang along to this Piano Man. So I have a short video, just maybe 20 seconds or so of it. But what you see in there is Billy Joel says the stage is set up all the way out in center field. And so you'll see the big screens. But then if I pan, you'll go all across the entire field is covered with chairs and people everywhere. And so what I want you to listen for, though, is listen to the people singing along. So is that video available, I hope?
It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. The rain cloud shovels in. was an old man sitting next to me, making love to his tiny marriage.
50,000 people are singing together at the top of their lungs. And that experience was the beginning of these music Sundays that we've been having at least once a year in the summertime, particularly in contemporary worship, but then that usually kind of spills over into our traditional worship. So through the years, we've done Piano Man, we've done Jesus Is Just All Right With Me, we've done Dust in the Wind, we did John Lennon's Imagine, even had a chorus of Red Solo Cup, but which I joked that everybody knows is referring to a communion cup. All right, here we go. So, preacher man, why are you singing James Taylor songs in worship? That doesn't really make any sense. Is it because you think James Taylor is some great theologian? No. But it's because many of us have had our souls moved by his music. And soul work is God work. So last Sunday in contemporary worship, our praise team did a great job of playing through some of James Taylor's greatest hits. I didn't ask them to come over here today, and I didn't think that was quite right. But next Sunday, we are having our country and gospel music Sunday, and we'll all be together for that, and we'll get to hear some from our praise team and others then. So I know many of you will connect deeply to James Taylor's music. The song that I want to highlight this morning is his classic song, You've Got a Friend. And so we'll hear it a little bit. We'll sing through a part of that, all right? So no, James Taylor's no great theologian, but if you listen to some of his lyrics with God in mind, listen. Where in this song, he said, close your eyes and think of me. Yeah, that works pretty good. To brighten up even my darkest nights. Yeah, that's another good one. I'll come running to see you again. That works. That works. Soon I'll be knocking upon your door. That's another good one. They'll take your soul if you let them. Oh, no, but don't you let them. You've got a friend. See, if you look for it in there, it's there, isn't it? It's there. So our scripture reading for this morning is in John chapter 15. Some of the middle and later verses of it. I'll read that for us in just a second. John 15 is a great chapter. Lisa Pulliam preached from that very chapter just a few weeks ago on the vine and the branches. Remember, that's all part of the earlier part of that chapter. In this reading for today, verses 15 to 17, it's the first time that Jesus referred to his disciples as friends. As friends. So here's our scripture reading for this morning. So hear now these words. John 15, verses 15 through 17. I'm no longer calling you servants, Jesus said, because servants don't understand what their master is thinking and planning. No, I've named you friends because I've let you in on everything I've heard from the Father. You didn't choose me, remember? I chose you and put you in the world to bear fruit, fruit that won't spoil. As fruit bearers, whatever you ask the Father in relation to me, he gives you. But remember the root command, love one another. So here ends our reading for this morning. So I've wondered, I don't know if you ever wonder about these things. I've wondered through the years when the disciples of Jesus became the apostles of Jesus. And was there one cut moment in time, okay, from now on I'll call you apostles? And it turns out there's really not. Because mid-gospel somewhere, Jesus sends them out. The disciples are students. Apostles are those who are sent out. So in one point, in the middle of one of the Gospels, Jesus sends them out 2 by 2 and calls them apostles, but then gathers them again later around the table as disciples. So there's not really a clear-cut time when it changes. But here in this passage, not disciples, not apostles, he calls them friends. Friends. And the sense is that they are friends because they know what is going on in Jesus' world and his kingdom. So friends has lots of meanings. I learned from our daughter Carol Ann that friend, at least in her social media world, has more to do with, like I'm friends with them means I'm keeping up with them. What they put on social media, what they post, I keep up with. And so someone who she doesn't keep up with, well, I'm not friends with them. Okay, so that's, friend can mean a lot of things, right? When I'm approached by a group of people, sometimes I'll greet them by saying, hello, friends, even though I don't even know them. Other times, that person I had lunch with this week, I describe as a friend. People who study the Bible's original languages say that translating the Aramaic word here as friend doesn't really do it justice. Or maybe better said, that the generic form of friend isn't precise enough. And that in the passage, friend would better be translated as someone who is loved. So that works for a lot of our friends, but not the more general sense of it. So maybe we're talking about a really good friend. So there's a book in the Bible called the Song of Solomon. It's in there, I promise. It's in there. You got the Psalms, you got Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. I think Song of Solomon's right there after it. It's somewhat of a love letter from God. And so in one verse in chapter 2, verse 8, referring to God, it says, look, he, God, comes leaping upon the mountains, bounding over the hills. What a beautiful image of God that is, bounding over the hills to be with you, to be with me. If you remember well the story of the prodigal son, you remember the younger son goes to his father kind of insultingly and asks for his inheritance now, not later when you pass, but now. And his father gives him his inheritance. And the young man runs off and blows it on wild living. Dissolute living, I believe, was the King James Version word there for it. And so now he's without anything and begging for his existence. And so it says, when he comes to his senses, that's a beautiful thought. When he comes to his senses, he decides he will return to his father's house because even my father's servants are living better than I'm living now. So he decides to go back home. And what does the father do? The father was watching for him in the hopes that he would come back. And he sees him and he runs out to meet him, to greet him. So in that day, I've read that it was that no respectable man would undistinguish himself by running. That's not something a man would do, at least not a man, a property owner or something like that. But it didn't matter. This father ran out to him. There's that beautiful image of our God coming to us. James Taylor sings it, I'll come running. I'll come running to see you again. There's a minister named David Artman, who's a good friend of mine and an Open Table Faith favorite. David and I have known each other since seminary. We worked together in a church years ago, a long time ago when we were heavily involved in church camp. David was a musician as well. He rewrote the words. I think we sang this song in here a couple of years ago on Gospel Sunday. He rewrote the words to Garth Brooks' old song, I've Got Friends in Low Places. You remember that song, right? He rewrote the words to sing. He sings it this way, I've got friends in high places where the grape juice flows and the bread chases your blues away. That's not bad. Not bad, right? So James Taylor sings, "You've Got a Friend." We add into that, "in high places." So our weekly gathering, a study to watch The Chosen, continues on. We've been doing that Wednesday afternoons, 1:30 in our contemporary worship space. We still have 2 episodes to go. If you're available on Wednesday at 1:30, come on by. I think you would catch up quickly on what's going on in the story, and it's worth watching. So a couple of weeks ago, we learned of a Jewish Passover tradition called Dayenu. Dayenu. It's kind of made up of the word day, meaning enough, and the word enu, meaning for us. So I'm not exactly sure how it goes, but I think how it goes is this. It's somewhat of a prayer of gratitude used during the Passover meal. And as I understand, as the people gather for the meal, someone begins the Dayenu by saying to God, "It would have been enough. It would have been enough." And then another person, and they all go around and say all these things. "It would have been enough, oh God, that you set the moon and the stars in place. It would have been enough that you delivered us from Egypt. It would have been enough that you returned us from our exile. But you," the obvious outcome of this, "but you, oh God, have done all of these things and so much more. And so much more." And so when I hear James Taylor sing, "You've Got a Friend," part of what I'm thinking and feeling is, hey, God, it would have been enough for you just to be a friend, a needed friend. You are so much more than that. And I love all you bring into my life. But I don't really have to have your miracles in order to love you. I don't really have to have the beauty of your creation to love you, although it is beautiful and I love it. I don't really even have to have your everlasting life to love you. But thank you, thank you. Sometimes I find myself thinking of God, it would have been enough. It would have been enough for you just to be a friend. To kind of say, you don't have to fix everything in my life in order for me to love you. Just knowing you are with me is the biggest thing. So I have a wonderful life. I really do. I love almost everything about my life. Things are good. Not perfect, not even close to that. Not without its challenges, not without its sore spots, some really painful ones, but still overall, a wonderful life in so many ways. And so I guess still what I really need from God is a friend. Is a friend. To need to know that God is with me. So sometimes God is that friend. Sometimes God provides a friend to be just that. So ultimately, just knowing I'm connected to God's, experiencing God's holiness, God's power, God's grace, God's love, that's all I need. Just knowing. Just knowing I've got a friend. And in this case, a friend in high places. And that is enough. So I didn't bring the band with me from next door to help us sing some songs, but I just thought we could sing through a little bit of James Taylor's "You've Got a Friend." And the words, I think, will be up on the screen for us. And if you're a James Taylor fan at all, you probably can't keep from singing. So just come on in and do it. I invite you to hear these words, though, in the context of worship, as a message from God to you. A message from God to you. And I pray that you will let them seep into your soul. All right? When you're down and troubled and you need some love and care, and nothing, no, nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even my darkest night. Just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you have to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. I do. Yeah, beautifully done. Beautifully done. Music is good for the soul, isn't it? It's a gift from God. And I challenge you to pretty much whatever music you're listening to, whatever it is you're singing, if you listen, you can sense God in the midst of it. If Jesus is Lord of all, and I believe He is, and He's in the midst of it all. Of it all. So here's our note to self. Simple but good. In God, you've got a friend. I believe we have a whole lot more in God than just a friend, but make no doubt about it, in God we have a friend. And that is enough, and that is a lot, a lot. So our challenge would be this, to start or restart your faith as simply as that. Just recognize God as your friend. So I don't know, maybe you're in a really good place with your faith today and I don't know, maybe a little dry around the edges, so this feels good. Maybe you kind of been just kind of going through the motions. This is what I do and I'm doing it again today. And you need a little restart maybe. Maybe you're here and you're just kind of kicking the tires, trying to see if there's anything to all this. Or maybe you're going through a rough patch, really a really rough patch. And the whole God thing just doesn't seem to be working for you. Wherever you are on that spectrum, further out, anywhere along there, I offer you this. And it really doesn't get much more simple than this, I recognize. But I offer you a friend. A friend. That same God who bounds over the hills, leaps over the mountains just to be with you. That same God who through His Son Jesus called us friends. That same God who speaks to us through James Taylor music.